Dr. Hirji, thank you once again for your time today. The Ontario Hockey League has finally made a decision on the season, and Steve Clark, Niagara IceDogs play-by-play announcer, it's not the one we wanted to hear, is it?
It's not the one we wanted to hear, Mike, but it wasn't unexpected to hear about it. They were simply just, kind of running out of time, and with the new variant taking control, it just was an inevitability. They canceled the season.
Why do you think they waited so long to pull the plug? They really were hopeful about this hub idea that they had.
Yeah, I believe they were legitimately, invested in getting some sort of season. And I've always said that because the Western Hockey League and the Quebec Hockey League got some form of season in, that the Ontario Hockey League wanted to be the same. And as David Branch said at the media conference yesterday, and as you alluded to, they got as far as 4 hub cities. They had Dr. David Williams sign off. They had Premier Doug Ford sign off. They were kind of ready to move into the next phase. And then, of course, the new variant really took flight and things started shutting down. The stay-at-home order came in place. And then, it simply became, more when were they going to cancel the season rather than if they were going to cancel the season.
This is a big part of your life. What has this roller coaster ride been like for you?
You know what? It hasn't been as tough as I thought in some ways, and in other ways, it has been difficult. I mean, there's always things that you're going to find to fill your time in the evening. I've started, to really get invested in running, and I've got a daughter who's busy, though her hockey season got curtailed. But I really did miss the feeling of going to the arena, the camaraderie with the rest of the YourTV crew, the feel of the crowd, that great surge you get with live television when the red light comes on. All those things were missing for me this year, and it was difficult. I'm used to doing up to upwards of 40 games a year, and this calendar year there's been none, and that has been difficult. There are people obviously in a lot different situations than me, so nobody should really feel sorry for me. But yeah, it's one of those things you really miss. It's like a hobby that was kind of taken away from you.
When you assess it, is it better to not have started at all, or to have started and then had to close things down after a while?
That's a great question. I was always of the mindset that you can start and then shut things down. I think, you've seen that in other sports, that games have been rerouted and reshuffled and rescheduled and things like that. So I was fine with that part, but I understand the OHL stance that they wanted to go continuously, wanted to wait for everything that they could to make sure that everything was lined up to make things as safe as possible, that they were in tune with the government. That part I understood. And I believe that with David Branch, there weren't too many windows of opportunity for the OHL to really get a season started either. That was going to be very difficult. The numbers have always kind of been trending either, consistently higher or then down for a little bit. And then, of course, with the latest spike. So, I would have supported them trying to start a season, but it also would have been a tough time to find a time when to start the season.
Steve, do you worry about those older OHL players, perhaps in their last year of eligibility? Also those players who are eligible for the NHL draft. How do they move forward from a year without hockey?
Yeah, I really do. And, I put out a tweet the other day that said there were 15 players ranked in Bob McKenzie's draft poll in the top 100. 7 of those guys got game action because they went to Europe and played. But it's the lower tier guys. It's the guys who were ranked a little bit lower. Those are the guys who didn't get meaningful game action. A few of them are going to the U18s. That's happening in the United States a little bit later on, but a lot of them aren't going to play. And for those overagers, I really do feel bad because they have to kind of make a decision and make a decision about, what's going to happen. Is it worth trying to sign a pro contract? Can I sign a pro contract and things like that? And those guys now, they don't get that gameplay in their overage year to really showcase themselves to minor pro teams and to youth sports. And the other thing I just want to speak of as well, in that top 100, 3 of them are goaltenders. And goaltenders are really a wild card when it comes to develop. They develop differently than players. And there were 3 goaltenders who didn't see any meaningful game action this year. And it's going to be really tough to evaluate those guys based on the season that they played last year, which got curtailed in March.
Steve, thanks so much for joining us today. We really miss you here on the airwaves at YourTV.
I miss you guys as well. Can't wait for things to come back and for hockey to be back in our lives again at YourTV and every single OHL center. Appreciate it, Mike.